Guys, this story perfectly blows the lid off of Antifa's propaganda and proves that they are not an anti-fascist organization. Let me show you why. Hey, let's all take a moment to appreciate that we've got a common sense administration in office, because in Europe, this migrant crisis is only getting worse. So in Germany, there was a situation where people were just ended by an Afghan migrant who used a knife to do the job, right? Including ending a 2-year-old child, all right? And you'd think that the family and friends could have a normal funeral service and not making a political statement out of it, but apparently Antifa had to make it a political event.
Ich habe keine Zeit für ein Interview.
Nazis raus! Nazis raus! Nazis raus! Nazis raus! Nazis raus!
Am I just late on this, man? Did you guys get the memo that apparently funerals and memorial services are fascist now? Insane. German funeral for victims discontinued by Afghan migrant, including a 2-year-old child, is mauled by Antifa. Hey guys, hit that like button for me. It really helped me out. And if you've enjoyed a couple of my videos so far, hit that subscribe button, man. I'd really enjoy having you on the next one. So I wanted to spend a minute digging into this article because it perfectly highlights, right, exactly how Antifa does not care about any sort of morality. They are here to promote a specific political ideology, and they are hiding behind the guise of anti-fascism in order to do it. As reported by Robert Spencer, a well-known expert on jihad and militant Islam, a funeral for Germans discontinued by an Afghan migrant was interrupted by Antifa. On Wednesday, an Afghan migrant who was living in an asylum center was arrested for stabbing to discontinuation a 2-year-old child and a 41-year-old man on a playground. 2 others were also injured in the knife attack. 28-year-old Namula O had a history of violent attacks and was in Germany despite having an order to leave the country. Man, this is the second time in the past 12 months that I've heard about something like this happening in Germany alone. Workers at a nursery, or what we call a daycare center here in America, noticed the man acting suspiciously and decided to move the children inside. It was at that moment that the Afghan migrant attacked the children, offing a 2-year-old and then a 41-year-old man who attempted to rescue the children. So he's targeting kids. What the hell is this? Is this a controversial statement that if you target a child in any way for anything, you are not a man at all? How someone can look themselves in the mirror and respect themselves as a man for even having thoughts like that is beyond me. And he had been like stalking that building. I mean, so he was sitting there thinking about this for a minute. How does this go through your checks in your head? It's like no matter what you're frustrated by in your life, no matter what your problems are in life, you can guarantee that those kids had nothing to do with it. So then, as though that isn't bad enough, at the funeral, Antifa showed up and reportedly insulted family members and friends and accused them of being fascist. Sadly, this well-known tactic of the left frequently works when silencing critics of mass migration and militant Islam. Wow, so that was their goal, huh? What kind of human being prioritizes ideology over human connection, man? Let these people have a moment for their children. And if you feel like it's being misused to demonize migrants and people coming into the country, then combat that on its own level. Dude, I keep having to re-record this video because I'm getting too heated, man. I apologize, guys. I hope I'm pulling it back enough for y'all, man, because this is insane, dude. And it very clearly exposes these people for not having any sort of moral compass, man. At the funeral, man, you gotta be out of your mind.
Schützen die Faschisten! Deutsche Polizisten! Schützen die Faschisten! Deutsche Polizisten!
A fascist funeral.
Deutsche Polizisten! Schützen die Faschisten!
Was ist denn ein Faschist?
How does that even make any sense to have a fascist funeral? Really, in so many ways, that was the perfect segue, because I real quick want to establish 2 things, guys, okay? One, yes, Antifa is an organization, an international organization. I will prove it to you beyond a reasonable doubt. In Germany, Antifa is a political movement composed of multiple far-left, autonomous, militant groups and individuals who describe themselves as anti-fascist. Those groups communicate and coordinate with one another. In the United States, Antifa consists of a highly decentralized array of autonomous groups. It's the same description as in Germany. In 2017, there was an anti-fascist handbook that came out. There's a flag, there's a handbook, there's a central ideology that holds them all together. When they act, they coordinate their actions. It doesn't matter whether they're decentralized or not. They are a group, they are an organization, and I bet you anything, whether it's official or not, organizations like this usually follow some loose, informal hierarchy system. They are also not an anti-fascist organization. They are also not anarchists like they try to associate with in the US. And you can even tell based on the leanings of the organizations that promote their messaging in the cultural zeitgeist. For example, what's one of the first options up here? Socialist worker. Interesting. What is socialism? Red flag, redflag.org. Interesting. Red flag, socialist worker. What's going on here? Well, did you know that according to Karl Marx himself, socialism is just a stepping stone designed to prepare society for communism? See, communism has two phases. The first or lower phase of communism is called socialism. That is the phase between capitalism and communism. The second or higher phase of communism is the perfect stage. See, what people don't realize and what really frustrates me is that communism and fascism are exactly the same thing. Whether or not your economy is run by corporations that have a voucher to operate by the government, or whether the government just absorbs those corporations and brings them in as branches of the government itself, that's a semantical issue. It is irrelevant. In fact, in function, it makes literally no difference. You know, this is actually my favorite Venn diagram on the planet, man, because what's in the center here is literally all that is relevant. Everything outside of here are propaganda systems created by rich elites who lobby the ruling class to try to manufacture our consent, all right? None of this is real. All of this is illusion placed in your mind to distract you from the fact that we need to rid ourselves of these everywhere they exist, even in our Western democratic society. This Venn diagram proves the only difference between communism and fascism is the rhetoric that is used to manufacture consent, all right? And that brings me to my next point, which is that Antifa are neo-Nazis. Antifa are neo-communists, which are exactly and equivalently as bad as neo-Nazis. Last weekend in Berkeley, California, a group of neo-communist Antifa, anti-fascist thugs attacked peaceful protesters at a No to Marxism in America rally, wielding sticks and pepper spray, beating people with homemade shields that read, "I kid you not, no hate." Yo, man, try that with me or anyone else that's actually been in the street and is ready for stuff like that every moment of every day, bro. I wish you would. The Post reports how one peaceful protester was attacked by 5 black-clad Antifa members, each windmilling kicks and punches into a man desperately trying to protect himself. Members of the Berkeley College Republicans were then stalked by Antifa goons who followed them out to a gas station and demanded they get the expletive out of their car, warning, "We're real hungry for supremacists, and there's more of us." Yo, if you're hungry for supremacists, you should have looked in the mirror. So let's recap. Antifa is an organization, for sure. They are not anti-fascist. They are pro-communism, which is just another version of fascism. Yo, please, if there's any takeaway from this video, it's that, in my opinion, Antifa is intentionally and purposefully lying with the intent to manipulate people when they claim to be anti-fascist. And I want you to go around telling people that communism and fascism are the same thing. And when they try to argue with you about any sort of technicality, I want you to pull up this Venn diagram. And I want you to tell them that the only thing that matters is the center of that Venn diagram. And if those things exist, if those are in place, it's communism/fascism, and they're the same thing. Also, as a side note, I want to start a movement of everybody dressing in all black. CCTV cameras track us wherever we go. Your clothing is a fingerprint. They track everything you do. If as many people as possible can dress in all black, we can start taking some of our privacy back and wearing face coverings when you know you're in front of CCTV. We can start taking some of our privacy back in a way that makes it more expensive. They have to develop new technologies. Also, on top of that, it prevents Antifa from being able to recognize people. Dress in all black, cover your face when you know there's cameras around, and then how are they even gonna know who to attack? Hey, thank you so much for joining me and sticking to the end, guys. I know I was heated. I tried not to. It took a little bit of re-recording. Dude, it turns out Colombia's president is like a delusional psycho, man. Like straight crazy, dude. We go through everything right here in his response. The dude is out of it. And then on top of that, CNN's host short circuits, like straight loses her mind when she sees Trump's new approval ratings, man. It's hilarious. Check it out.